Hi, how are you? This is Pastor Ira Ackery. I'm bringing you greetings from the West Side, and I'm bringing you greetings as the CEO of the Austin Empowerment Coalition. We're so grateful to have you here today to join us on All Hands on Deck. Our phone number here is 312-738-1060. And today we're going to be talking about a couple issues. One is the debacle that took place with J.B. Pritzker and his comments on the wiretap phone call between he and the disgraced governor, Rod Blagojevich. Just want to see your take on it. I've already issued a statement, and my take on it is this. I think it's a great opportunity for African Americans to let the Democratic Party know that they have more value than just being deliverables during election time. Okay? I heard Miss Mary Mitchell from the Sun-Times went ballistic on JB. She talks about he is the devil that we know. I heard Jesse White make comments about he knows JB's heart. As much as I respect JB Pritzker, as much as I respect Jesse White, I've never voted for a candidate based upon their heart, because I don't know anybody's heart. I can't read anybody's mind. I can only go by the policies and their positions on the various issues. 312-738-1060. Later on, we'll be joined by one of the guys who are on the front line, Commissioner Richard Boykin. He's going to call in. He's in the midst of a contested race, even though he has been on the front line, fighting for jobs, being a voice for the voiceless, fighting for health care for all in the county. Nevertheless, he's been challenged, and he's being heavily funded by the unions. The unions are after my boy, Richard Boykin. I want to hear from him. Today, if you're listening, if you're watching, let me see your take on how do you view the governor's race now? Do you give JB a pass? Is Biss a serious candidate now? Or does Chris Kennedy, rise to the top? Or will the other candidates, Dauber and my friend, my member, T.O. Hardeman, and others, will any of them rise? What's your take on it? Call in right now with a vote for your candidate. J.B. Pritzker, Chris Kennedy, Biss, T.O. Hardeman, Dauber, or others. I don't even know the other candidates by memorization. I don't know them by name. But I heard a comment today about Pritzker from Mary Mitchell, and she was pretty hard on him. She's pretty hard on him today. Well, I want to say one thing. What it tells us is this. It tells us that many of these powerful politicians, they do not want, how can I say this? They do not want African American politicians that have backbone. They want weak politicians. That's what it's really saying. I didn't really sit back and say, oh, J.B. Pritzker is a racist. I don't like what he said. He should not get a pass, and he deserves the criticism he's getting right now. But quite frankly, him making the statement, we need somebody who's not crass like Emil Jones, and we need somebody who is least offensive. In other words, we need somebody that does not make white people uncomfortable. Are you serious? Are you serious? We need somebody who does not make white people uncomfortable. Well, what else does it tell us? It should let us know it's time out for other people, the big bosses, picking our leaders. Because when they pick our leaders, you see what we get. Instead of people advocating for us, instead of people fighting for us to have health care, instead of someone fighting so that we can have a level economic and educational playing field, we have people appointing other blacks who are yes men and people who want to get along and people who won't rock the boat. That's what we get. That's why we need people that represent us, who fight for us, who are independent, and who are not a bunch of yes men. To me, it seems like he was calling Jesse White a Tom. Pardon my expression. 312-738-1060. We have a call on the line. Welcome to All Hands on Deck.
The Honorable Reverend Ira Ackery.
All right, on the line we have Commissioner Richard Boykin. We're going to ask the studio if they would raise this volume so we can hear this gentleman. Commissioner Boykins, welcome to the show. You're on All Hands on Deck. I want to tell you right away, we appreciate people like you because I listened to the wiretap conversation between J.B. Pritzker and Governor Blagojevich, not putting you on the spot to make a decision or anything like that, or publicly, kick the man while he's down. But what's amazing to me is that what made Jesse White an attractive candidate for Pritzker to recommend to the governor at that time was the fact that he was least offensive. It made white people feel comfortable. That lets me know that if you were out there at that time 10 years ago, you would not have gotten an opportunity, because you don't just make white people feel uncomfortable. You make blacks, Hispanics, and Asians, anybody that's against equity for everyone and education for all communities, you make them feel uncomfortable. So you want to comment? Welcome to the show.
Well, that is exactly correct. And let me tell you, those individuals who would stand with J.B. Pritzker, I mean, basically he showed you who he is. And so you must believe who he is. I mean, he didn't expect to get caught, but that's the way he thinks. And so if he did it then, he'll do it now. And quite frankly, it's a disappointment of those people who are standing with him.
It certainly is. Let me ask you this. Can you tell us a little bit about your race? I know you're busy, you're out here in the trenches, but I am so stunned that you have any competition, because you've been out here fighting. You were a leader when you made the call during the Laquan McDonald scandal, the police cover-up. You demanded Anita Alvarez to be fired, or not be fired, to resign. You said that the superintendent of police should be fired. You stood up to Rahm Emanuel. You asked for a DOJ investigation. We got that. You were a leader. You've talked about getting housing in our neighborhood. You talked about public safety. You've been on the front line, and you fought you got the sugar pop tax revealed, concealed, turned back, whatever you want to call it. You did it. You led the revolt of a pop tax. Thank you for that, but some people are not grateful.
Well, look, I think that we did it together, and when I say we, I'm talking about you as well, and the people who were willing to stand up. I mean, when we marched down Michigan Avenue and in support of Laquan McDonald and justice for him, when we marched around City Hall, when we marched around the State of Illinois building against Bruce Rauner and the cuts to social service programs, I mean, you were standing right there side by side.
Absolutely.
With us, and so with so many other people. And so for that, I'm grateful. And let me tell you, it's basically the union bosses who've lined up against us, and President Preckwinkle, who basically say that we've caused too much of a problem on the board. We've been too outspoken. They basically say that they want somebody who they can control on this board. They don't want an independent voice. Well, let me tell you, we've stood up for the people, and now it's time for the people to stand up for us. And hopefully they'll do that on Election Day. They'll go out and they'll vote in big numbers, and they'll vote as if their very life depended on it, because it really does. I mean, it matters. And so we've done so much in the community. We've brought back more than $25 million in job training, violence prevention, flood mitigation, and transportation grants back to the 1st District. You know, when I think about the guy that's running against me, I mean, he knows absolutely nothing about county government. He's running on an education platform, but I want your listeners to know the county doesn't spend one dime on education, one dime on the schools. We don't do it. That's the city and the state. And so, quite frankly, he's in the wrong race. But, you know, Preckwinkle had to get somebody to run, and she got this guy. And so the unions are behind him. They've given him $250,000 to date to try to take me out. But it doesn't matter how much money they give him. Quite frankly, they can give him $1 million. The people are still going to stand up, and they're going to stand with Boykin because I've stood up for them, and I've been their voice.
You fought for us, and we certainly appreciate that. I hope, and your opposition, he's welcome to come on the show, and I will not be a coward. I'll hold my ground, because we need people like you. We don't need politicians who are just single issue oriented. We need people who know how to build coalitions between people in Maywood and the West Side and Oak Park. We need a leader like you that will fight for economic opportunities for all. We need somebody who will put the brakes on the tax. Man, we're taxing people to death. People are leaving this state like somebody's throwing hot water on them or something. It's been a mass exodus. And I'm hoping you can give us some ways that the people can fight back, because many of us are very despondent, because we don't want politicians who are least offensive representing us and just being a rubber stamp for the status quo. We want someone who will fight for us and try to level the playing field for all of God's children. How can we make a statement? What can we do tangibly? I know I'm going to give you some money. That's what I'm going to do. Can you tell us other ways we can help?
Well, let me tell you, Reverend, you know that whenever you're a change agent, you're always going to be targeted. And I mean, in your business, I mean, you've been a change agent and people have targeted you. Quite frankly, what we got to do is we got to speak back. We got to speak with our votes, and we got to make sure that we go to the polls. We got to make sure that we vote. That's how we get even. And, of course, people can also volunteer on the campaign. They can help us pass out literature. They can help us make phone calls in our phone bank operation. But these are the ways in which they can really help this campaign. And we need all the help we can get, because, again, we're like David going up against Goliath. It's not easy to take on the union bosses. The last time we took on the machine and we prevailed. I got a feeling that this time we're taking on the machine and the union bosses, and we're going to prevail again. The machine is almost dead, but it ain't dead yet.
Well, let me say something to you. It seems that while Miss Preckwinkle is fighting you, I don't understand it. Many of us, I don't understand it. It breaks my heart, because you were ready to run. Many of us were pushing you to run for her seat as president of the board. And then you basically told us you were not going to run this time. You pulled back. You just want to fight for the people. You want to finish your term. You gave her a pass. Right now, she's in the fight of her life with Bob Fielready. I don't get it.
Well, I think that basically it's the policies that she's pushed, like the pop tax, which basically cost the county taxpayers more than $12 million. We were $12 million short of the tax receipts on sales tax revenue for fiscal year 17 that we should have brought in. And so, quite frankly, people spoke with their pocketbooks. They left Cook County. They went to DuPage, Will, Lake, and Indiana, and they bought their beverages there. They bought refrigerators and stoves there, and they didn't buy them in Cook County. And so who gets shortchanged? The taxpayers of Cook County. I think they're speaking to and saying, wait a minute, President Preckwinkle, you can't defend Joe Barrios in this unfair property tax assessment system where so many of us in our neighborhoods are paying more in our property taxes than we are in our mortgage.
Absolutely.
How can we make it? And so, you know, you got all of these taxes that they're layering on top of the people. And as you said, people are leaving Cook County faster than you can say go. Quite frankly, we've lost more population than any other county in the United States of America.
Commissioner, these calls are lining up. Can you take a call?
Absolutely.
Caller, welcome to the show. All hands on deck with Commissioner Boykin and Reverend Ira Ackery.
Yes, sir.
Let him call back. We lost him. All right, Commissioner. I don't know what happened, but anyway, you know, people are leaving. I cut you off because I want to get a couple of these callers in.
Yeah, people are leaving faster than you can say go, and it's the policies that are driving people out. It's the failure to deal with the gun violence that's driving people out. And quite frankly, it's a land grab. And so that's why we have to make sure that we stand tall for our communities. It bothers me that you have some aldermen who've been in position for a long time, and their awards look like war zones.
Absolutely. Commissioner, listen, I really appreciate you coming on today. I think we have a caller. Caller, welcome to the show. You're with Commissioner Richard Borkins and Reverend Ira Ackery.
Oh, man,
all hands on deck.
I'm so happy that I called in today. The Commissioner Boykin's the best thing that ever happened to Chicago. Listen, he should have ran against Preckwinkle. Because what's Preckwinkle doing? Raising taxes. The next thing you know, she's going to be raising taxes on shoes because they don't have soles in them or something to get a tax. But Preckwinkle has got to be out. But the thing I want to say about Preckwinkle, he has a black lady with him to try to fool people. You know, he's a crook. He's been a crook, and he'll always be a crook. But you know what? People are smarter than that. Thank God.
Who are you going to vote for?
Who am I going to vote for?
Who should would you like to support? You want to recommend a candidate?
You know what? I don't know yet because I haven't gone into all the past. Ayos is out. I'm sorry. The young guy, because he wants to take houses away from people who can't pay their school loans. Did you hear about that?
All right. I've heard so much.
You know, oh man. But you know what? I'll give you a call next week.
Thank you so much.
I will know who I'm going to vote for.
Thank you so much.
Tell Mr. Boykin.
Commissioner, you want to respond, and I'll let you go.
Look, let me tell you, I appreciate the caller, but I appreciate you, Reverend Ira Ackery, for standing on the wall and for doing the great work of rebuilding our communities and for speaking truth to power. Let me tell you, we will prevail. When we fight, we win. And let me tell you, I'm fighting these guys. I'm not laying down. I'm knocking on doors. I'm doing everything that you got to do in order to win. I encourage people to vote March 20th and make sure you vote your interests.
What's your website?
You individuals. My website is richardrboykin.com. richardrboykin.com.
Hey, you know what? I had a rough week, Commissioner, but your presentation has been so passionate. It connected with my spirit. Man, I got $25, man. I'm going to put $25. You're not going to reject my $25 gift, are you?
Man, I'm not going to reject any gift. No gift is too small. Let me tell you, we'll take $1. We'll take $2. Whatever you can give, we encourage you to give. But most importantly, get out and vote. Vote for Richard Boykin. He will stand up for you time and time again. I will never sacrifice the interests of 5 million people in Cook County for those of a handful of political bosses and union bosses who wanted that sugar tax. I'll vote against it every single time.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you coming on the show, and we look forward to seeing you next week for that big press conference. God bless.
God bless you. Bye-bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, you just heard Richard R. Boykin, 1st District Commissioner. He is not one who makes other communities comfortable. He cracks the whip. He fights for us. He's out there trying to level the playing field educationally and economically. We're with him 110%. Listen, thank you so much, guys, for tuning in today. I wanted more of you to call in. Somebody call in some kind of way. We missed the call, but I wanted to get you to vote. In fact, look me up on Facebook, Ira, IRA, middle initial J, last name ACREE. I'm going to do a little poll, and I want you to tell me who you are supporting for governor in the state of Illinois. It's been a blast. It's been fun. And we'll be coming right back at you next week. Oh, yeah, by the way, we had an awesome time at the Leaders Network today. The Leaders Network, every second Tuesday of the month at 5701 West Jackson Boulevard at the Columbus Park Refectory. The most powerful faith-based led civil rights organization in Chicago meets once a month, 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. And today we had present with us some real trailblazers and world changers. We honored Paul Adams, the founder and CEO of Providence St. Mail, where 100% of his graduates are accepted in college. Oh my goodness. He was there with us, and we also had the Ethiopian ambassador from Israel. She was there. It was a distinct honor and privilege on Black History, at our Black History celebration, to give plaques to these two distinguished people. I gave plaques, awards to outstanding people locally and globally. It was a blessing. Black History Month on my birthday. Somebody in the studio asked, how old did I make? Well, can't you tell? 39. All right. God bless you. We will see you next week. Next year will be my big 4-0. Looking forward to it. God bless you. All hands on deck. Take care.